Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear on this Friday morning. We're ending the week on a great note. I know you enjoyed yesterday's show with Chris Kramer and all the outdoor stuff he gets into, and it's great having him on. That sort of reflects how our local sponsors are, local businesses, and I was tickled to have him. So let's move on with today's show. We got all kind of cool stuff to talk about today. Every day we talk about cool stuff on Panhandle Outdoors. Now, weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. Don't forget now the job fair tomorrow at Gulf Coast. A big deal, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of opportunities to be taken advantage of tomorrow, so be a part of that. We're looking at a high today of only 64, a little bit cooler today than yesterday. Low of 45, and the water temperature is 60 degrees. So we're pretty steady there with the water temperature, and rain off and on in some areas. But the tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Let's see, I don't have the river readings. They're dropping out at Apalachicola Bluntstown right at 15 foot, and the Choctawhatchee at Caryville. I do not have that one, but I will get it for you next week. So it's going to be dropping. Remember yesterday we talked about it had a real steady drop, but it's still a little bit on the high side. Tide chart with Kent Forest Lawn, 7:29 this morning was low tide, and tonight at 11:07, and not a lot of tidal flow. February the 8th is the date on it, and that incoming tide is not really strong, and it's going to sort of be held back by a north-northwest wind coming in at about 12, and it's going to be swinging to north-northeast, so that's going to hold that water out. So you're not going to get a lot of tidal movement in all three of our base systems here. All right, let's take our break, and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Now, looking at the time on that job fair tomorrow, is from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, is at the Student Union East building, okay? That's our public service announcement for today. Let's take a look at some emails and pictures that y'all have sent in, and this is from our buddy Ned Maxwell. He said, Winston, I watch your show every morning and saw Bill Allen's Iowa pheasants. Here are some Davenport, Iowa turkeys at my daughter's workplace this morning. There were 7 total. So look, you're at work and look out the window, and that's how strutting out there outside the window. So that's fascinating. And there's some big healthy turkeys over there. So thanks, Ned, for sharing that with us. I know that'd be hard to turn down, but if you're at work, I guess you better not mess with them. Ken Paramore got him a nice one. He said he had to call Uber for this guy this morning. He'd hunted 15 straight mornings, so he knew that buck was in rut, and he knew he was in the area. That's a great picture, Ken. That is a nice buck. Ken gets him a couple of bucks every year, but you see how he does it. 15 straight mornings, and he is tired. He probably slept in this morning. All right. This is from this is Lawson Thompson. His mom posted this. She said, he may not look happy, but I promise you he is. And the reason he is right there. What a nice buck, Lawson Thompson, the Thompson family, good folks there, and that is a nice one, Lawson. Good outdoorsman. You're going to be a fine outdoorsman doing that at your age. Okay, this is, let's see. Hey, Coach, Ted Jones got this 7-point hunting at the farm in Holmes County. Thought you might like to show it, okay? And here we go right here. Nice buck right there. All right. A lot of bucks being taken this time of year. Don't forget now, coming up, this is February 10th. That's going to be Sunday, the bass tournament over there at Lake Talquin. It's going to be from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Junior and High School Bass Masters Tournament. And our friend Jackie Cargo, who's been on the show before, they're putting it on. She gets a lot of help, but she's a driving force behind that. Also, another tournament. Check this out. This is going to be here. Brad Stevens has it, the Panama City Kayak Fishing Association. It's going to be, listen, this is an interesting time. Check this out right here. The time is February the 10th at 12 to 3, okay? 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock at the bottom right there. And what they're going to do, they're giving folks time to go to church and doing all kinds of stuff like that. And a little 3-hour tournament. I think that's cool to have a little 3-hour tournament. All right, now, where is that going to be? That's going to be at Burnt Mill Creek, BMC. And just a quick note on the Historical Society, Bay County Historical Society, they're back in business. They had some damage at the museum. This is next door to C&G Sporting Goods. If you have a chance to go there, they're open on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and this is the Historical Society of Bay County, I'm a proud member of, and good folks trying to preserve our history and our heritage, and we're going to try to get more and more fishing stuff in there. We've got a lot of great history around here. I know West Gaston Historical Society. I know up in the Funac Springs. Apalachicola has a historical society. I'd encourage all communities to have some kind of historical society to preserve your heritage, to pass on down. And our heritage is so interlaced with outdoor things that's happened, the fishing and outdoor stuff people have done. So I'm a proud member of that and a very staunch advocate of preserving our heritage. Okay, I do want to mention, listen, I don't know if you saw this in the news. I got to talk about this. All right, here it is right here. Jogger kills mountain lion with bare hands after being attacked on the Colorado Trail. And that was just a couple of days ago. I heard this on the news, and I didn't, well, wait a minute, is that fake news and all? So I dug in, of course, went on Google and dug into it and found the details. And here's what's happened. This guy went jogging, and this mountain lion started following. I'm not going to read you all the details, but he was jogging, and the mountain lion, he looked back, and the mountain lion was there, and the mountain lion lunged at him. When he stopped, the mountain lion lunged at him, and he got all kind of facial breaks. He reached out. It was like a movie scene. I read the details on it. You look it up. He reached out and started choking the mountain lion, and he actually choked the mountain lion to death, just like you see in the movies. Can you believe that? I said, I had to read it again. I hear the details on and on. The man told officials he heard something behind him, and a juvenile mountain lion lunged at him. So let's see. The runner did everything he could. The runner was bitten on the face and wrist, but somehow managed to break free from the animal. Officials said the man managed to kill it by suffocating it. He choked it to death is what he did. Anyway, the details on it. And the Parks and Wildlife Manager, they didn't say a whole lot about it, but I've never heard of that. I mean, in recent years, I'm sure it happened back in Mountain Man days and all, but I just thought I want to share that. We don't have any mountain lions here, but if you're fighting, I guess, for your life and all, I guess one of the vulnerable, I was thinking about it seriously, one of the vulnerable spots on any species is around that throat area, so that's what he ended up doing. It's just fascinating to me. Okay, let's take this break. We'll be right back. I was laughing at Jeff. I was talking about yesterday on the show. Chris Kramer. He had his Kramer Chevrolet coffee cup up there. I thought that's good business right there. Good business. And we have our coffee cups here. And by the way, we're going to start getting some caps. I had one of the viewers ask about caps and all. We're just out of everything right now. The hurricane's got us back, but pretty soon. And I can't do it. I have to have people help me. We're going to order new shirts, new caps and everything, and some new decals. In fact, I got a couple of decals left. But we're going to order a lot of stuff for Panhandle Outdoors ready this spring to hang in there, and we'll let you know where you can get them and different things like that. So we will be doing that and try to communicate. We'd love for y'all to have these things, and it's just great PR for everybody. So speaking of great PR communications, I get a kick out of always enjoying the outdoor stuff when I was a kid and all, magazines and all. And I brought 3 this morning just to show you. I won't go into details, but way back, this is the 41st year for Woods and Water. I've had it on before, but I just give this a plug every now and then. It's mainly really sort of east of us. It comes into here, but just good stories, good pictures and all. 41st year, and I remember getting my brother and I, when they first started putting this out, we'd get them at a junior store. We couldn't wait to get a new issue of it. So Woods and Water strong. Florida Sportsman, this is their 50th year. 41 years on that, and then 50 years on Florida Sportsman. Same family Carl Wickstrom started. It comes out of South Florida, but and it's a lot thinner. We talked about, with advertising, not as much, but look how thin it is. It used to be real thick. But the Florida Sportsman magazine, I enjoy reading it. I subscribe to it every year. I know that things are changing, communication-wise. You get so much off the internet and all, but it's still, to me personally, when I sit down in my chair to get up a magazine, just every now and then just relax and read a story and see the pictures and put my hands on it. So I'm old school on that, and I still enjoy it. This is more of a select group right here because this is Florida Antique Tackle News. This is on antique tackle collecting, and it only comes out about 4 times a year, each season and all, but I'm a Florida Antique Tackle Club. I'm a lifetime member of the Antique Tackle Collecting Club, so magazines and all are still part of my life, and I would encourage you to to read on these things and know everything we get now, like I say, is on the internet and all. And there's a lot of good information on there, but I do, again, hands-on. And moving on, I do want to mention speaking of books and magazines, my book, full box, of course. I'm on my last 200. In fact, just took a box to Brad down at Sunjammers. He had run out and had somebody going out of town that had to have one, so I had to take it down there. But I'd mentioned the other day about Matt, when I had Justin Leap doing the show, Chasing the Sun, and Matt Smith and all. The story, I told you about the story about them in it. So here's a picture of Matt and what I did, I got to look at this particular page. That whole page right here is on a speckled trout. That's Greg Brudnicki with a 9-pounder. And here's some articles. I've shown them on TV before, but catching 9-pound trout. And this 2-page spread was about a speckled trout. But those speckled trout, those boys holding up right there, they went out after school and they caught them right there dark. And I told them that they had to. If they want to be in my book, they had to do it that day, and we'd run out of time. But it was a great story as far as them doing it. And I wanted to talk about speckled trout. I did 2 pages in my book just on speckled trout, just because it's such a great fishery, and especially this time of year, wintertime. That one that Greg is holding right there, that big one that he's holding, he caught that in December in cold weather. It's cold weather fishing for speckled trout, and we can really catch some nice gator trout and all. So I'd rather speckled trout fish in the wintertime than in the summertime. It's just a really good deal and all. So keep that in mind too. And again, all kind of artificial baits out there, but well, my go-to bait a lot of times is just a good top water plug, and I just love catching speckled trout on top water and all. Now another thing too, let's talk about when early part of the week we had Travis Bassford on the show, and Travis, with FWC officer. We only did 1 case, but he was telling me about 4 cases, and 3 of them are pending, so he couldn't really talk about it as far on air and all, but they're pretty well, the evidence is in and everything. But one of the big things they're having trouble with, every year, it's nothing new, is a night hunting. And we want to encourage you as a citizen, and we talked about this before, you hear gunshots and all at 3 a.m., it's not normal, and go ahead and call them. And also, here's something else he brought up. I had not really thought about it, but you stop and think about it, getting to the fishing arena. We have a lot of workers coming in from out of town. And a lot of these workers are sort of outdoor guys, but a lot of these workers don't understand, or maybe do understand, don't care about the rules and regulations of our state. And they've really busted some folks big time, catching 10 and 15 redfish and keeping them, and catching all kind of trout, and not even giving any kind of a thought to the limit and everything. And they're usually fishing in groups, not just 1 or 2 of them. Usually like 4 or 5 of them going out fishing and just catching a lot of stuff. So if you got these out of town, I don't know if you're like me, I talk to the guys, the linemen and different people. I talk to them when I first started talking to them. We usually start talking about outdoor stuff. I said, hey, do you hunt up there? A guy from Kentucky the other day, I said, I know Kentucky got some big deer. Do you hunt up there? Or there was a guy from Kansas the other day. He hunted up in Kansas. So that's using my icebreaker, talking about outdoors. And a lot of them, and some of them honestly don't know the limits, but there's no excuse, because you can go online and pick up the limit real quick. But and they don't. A lot of them didn't know. This guy didn't know the slot size. He didn't understand what the slot size was, because he'd never heard anything like that. And he knew you could only keep 1 redfish and all, but he didn't know the size. So some of them had kept some big bull reds, and I don't know about. But anyway, just be aware of telling folks about and helping the FWC out, and just enforcing. If you see them out at jetties, especially with sheephead season coming up, they're going to be doing all kind of stuff like that. So anyway, I just want to touch base with you and let you know we got out-of-town folks that don't necessarily know all the rules and everything. So be aware of that. Now, we're going to get ready for our Tarpon seafood drawing. And they've been always gracious enough. Every Friday we give away some nice fresh seafood, and folks, they've had some nice catches coming in, some nice group and all coming in, and nice shrimp. And I may get some shrimp this afternoon. This is going to be $20. If I win $20, I'm going to get $20 worth of shrimp today. And the scamp was real good. One of our viewers got some scamp the other day. All right, here we go. $20 gift certificate. Okay, it's going to be Walter Reed. Walter Reed. All right, that's a winner there. Congratulations. And this is going to be for the big red snapper. That is a money fish. All right, and it's going to be, the winner's going to be Randy McElreath from Panama City Beach. When I say the red snapper is a money fish, I've talked about this before. The only fish I put on the cover right here, all the cover, the only fish I put on is the red snapper. Because you look in our history, all the old stories and all, that's the target fish. And it didn't, to me, a grouper tastes better, but everybody loved and still do. It's just exciting to catch a big old red snapper. So that's where it comes from historically. All right, we're going to take our final break. We're going to come out and do our famous Friday fishing forecast and talk about what's biting around here. All right, welcome back to our famous Friday fishing forecast, and there's also reports and all. Let me go ahead and I'm going to read the pier report. I talked to Carrie last night and got a report from the Panama City Beach Pier, and what we're looking at, here's some of the things they're catching. He said they're not tearing them up, but just, we've had some nice weather this week. It's been really comfortable as far as going out and not freezing or getting blown away. So it's been a good week, and it reflected itself off the pier because they were not catching hardly anything recently. But now this week they've caught black drum, they've caught a few flounder, caught a good many bluefish, and also some redfish. And he said basically his comment was picking up, quote, picking up. So that means it's just increasing a little bit, and it should be a good weekend to fish off the pier. The whiting and sheephead bite, he thought it would be catching more whiting right now, more sheephead, but he said really in about 2 weeks the sheephead is going to be tearing it up. And we always, about this time of year, I get a kick out of talking to folks about when the Spanish is going to be in. He laughed because that's the first time I talked about it this year. When are the Spanish going to be in? And he likes to think, sort of like we do, about first week or two of March, there's going to be what we call that pre-run is going to come in here, and we're going to have some bad weather, cold, how that March spring weather is, and then it's going to blow them out of here. Then they're going to come back about that third week, what we call that third fog of March. So just if you're in the right place at the right time, Spanish mackerel will be right around the corner. But meanwhile, let's get over here to Choctawhatchee Bay. We don't talk a lot about Destin and the Destin area and all, but there's some good fishing in this area, especially if you want to fish around the bridge now. The party people aren't quite out there as bad, and you got this pass in here. Good trout fishing, be some good sheephead fishing right along these pilings here, and also the big red bull red's going to be here, just like over the Hathaway Bridge over in our bay, in St. Andrew Bay. We're going to have some nice red fishing right in here. And it's just the thing about fishing over there this time of year, you're not inundated with a huge crowd, so really take advantage of that. And of course, bridge fishing coming out of, we'll talk about this a lot. And all that, this whole bridge fishing along this Mid-Bay Bridge and all is just really good with the sheephead and trout. You can actually see a boat right there. They just caught a big fish right there. And I didn't get a report from Mr. Brown yet, and Larry Brown, but he'll be giving me something soon, I'm sure. Okay, and the same bridges here. Okay, not the same bridge, same kind of fishing on the bridges here. Okay. And then, but West Bay, let's move on down, and the canal, we don't talk about what they call the ditch. These little feeder creeks, anytime you can find some feeder creeks coming into the intercoastal waterway, anywhere along in there, you're going to catch some fish, I can promise you. West Bay, now we didn't talk about West Bay last week. Burnt Mill Creek, the tournament's going to be right here Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of kayaks up through here Sunday afternoon. But anyway, you can. It's going to be really good. It's a crooked creek here, Burnt Mill Creek. And if I was going to fish it, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to come. I'll show you exactly where I'm going to catch some trout. If I was going to fish it, I'm not going to be able to fish it. But I would come. I'd paddle on out, get away from this crowd. I'd fish two sides. What I'd do, according to what the wind's doing, I'd come right on the shoreline, right in here, fish. And I've done this in a boat and a kayak. I'd fish right through here to this point, and then if I had time, I'd fish this mouth right here. Then I'd paddle on back, and then if I didn't do anything in here, I'd go right across this point here, okay, and then come back down there. That is exactly that's exactly would be my game plan for fishing this weekend at Burnt Mill Creek. Let's quickly move over East Bay. East Bay has done. Talking to people over in Callaway and all, they're catching trout. Callaway area is still messed up really bad, but they're catching a lot of trout on the small size. But around the docks and all in Callaway Bayou has been good. Crooked Island Sound, again, I haven't had a good report, haven't been over there yet, so I don't know about Crooked Island Sound. Mexico Beach, not a lot of people fishing, not a lot of people surf fishing. A few people are out there, The canal, I do want to talk about the canal because I was at Blue Water this week and talked to several people that fish over there. And this is going to be easy fishing, folks. Just drive in right here on either side of that, park your truck, and you can fish right up under the bridge on the incoming tide or outgoing tide. And some fishermen are wading out and fishing here, and they're really catching some nice fish. They're catching redfish, they're catching trout, and doing some really strong fishing there. So that's one of the hot spots for the weekend. You don't have to have a boat or anything. You can fish from shore. You want fresh peeled shrimp. And they got them down in the Blue Water, fresh peeled shrimp this time of year. You just can't beat it. Another quick spot, again, let's get down to East Point, if I can make it all the way down there to the, I talk about this a lot, about the bridge down at East Point. And I'm not having time to pull it up. Anyway, the old bridge, I'll just talk about it. The old bridge down at East Point, going towards St. George Island, sheephead fishing, it was starting right now, really. This weekend I'll be catching sheephead and on through the next couple of weeks. Remember, the limit now has changed, it's changed to 8. You're going to keep 8. And again, the best bait on those now, the second best bait would be the peeled shrimp. The best bait would be the little fiddler crabs. If you can catch some little fiddler crabs, that is the #1 go-to bait on catching sheephead. So keep that in mind, fishing anywhere around those pilings there, from the bridge, or actually if you have a boat, you can put in there and catch a tide. You want that tidal flow now. You want to fish down current, okay? Or you want the fish going to be down current. You want your bait up current, and it's going to drift into them because they're going to smell it. So just keep that in mind as far as, and use that small hook on the sheephead. They're going to sort of nibble on it, and don't jerk it too fast. And the sheephead fishing is going to really be hitting in this weekend also. So anyway, we got to start wrapping things up. The old clock on the wall says it's time to get out of here. Well, we've had a good week, had some good guests and all, and it's been enjoyable. Next week's going to be just as good. So you have a great weekend, and do something in the outdoors. I always encourage you to do something. You don't necessarily be fishing and hunting. Just get outdoors and do something, because all work and no play makes Sadie an unhappy lady. So remember that. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.